Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the video, and today I want to talk about Wolfenstein The New Order. So I recently went back and played this game because I eventually want to play Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus. So I just want to talk about things like what I liked about the game and what I disliked about the game. So first I want to talk about a bit about the story, and don't worry, if you haven't played the game, I won't spoil anything. The story has you play as Captain BJ Blazkowicz, where you are fighting a war against technologically advanced Nazis. After losing the fight, Blazkowicz is left severely injured and becomes a vegetable for several years. He eventually does the impossible and recovers, leaving himself looking for answers and joining the resistance. I actually like the story a lot in this game, and it feels very original. It has some of the most crazy psychotic villains you will meet, like Deathhead. Man, that guy is crazy. Every time I seen him on screen, he was doing something either twisted or messed up. I also like our other villain, Irene Engel, and her boy Toy Bubby. When I encountered these villains, it was always so intense and thrilling. I also loved the over-the-top moments this game had, where with these over-the-top moments, it just left me with my jaw dropped, and I'm surprised I forgot about them during my first playthrough. It had me asking questions like, how did this person survive, or how did that even happen? I also liked how the game offers two different timelines, where in the beginning of the game, you're left with the choice of which soldier you want to save, and this will affect the rest of your playthrough. I chose Fergus for the second time because he's one of my favorite characters. Overall, the story isn't complex, but it's good, and it gets you where you need to go while keeping you in the non-stop action for 8 to 9 hours. Next, I want to talk about my favorite part of the game, which is the combat. Weapons in Wolfenstein look and feel great. I love how unique every weapon looked, and I liked how some weapons looked like they could have actually been in that time period. Another thing I really liked was shooting weapons felt solid, and I loved being able to dual wield weapons in this game. My favorite weapons to dual wield in this game was the shotguns. I had an absolute blast blasting down the Nazis in this game. I also liked the weapon mods that you can unlock. For example, my favorite was the grenade launcher attachment you could find. I thought this was really useful against heavily armored enemies. I also liked being able to lean behind cover and how cover was destructible. This reminded me so much of my time playing Killzone. I'm not sure if the game had any inspiration, but even the minigun you can detach or the heavily armored enemies looked really similar to Killzone's design. I also loved how this game has some retro shooter elements, like its healing items and ammunition were spread all throughout the levels. I also really like how natural they made these items look to the environment. Another thing I liked was the variety of enemies you could encounter. I loved facing robots as they were some of the more stronger enemies, but you also had unique ways of killing them. I also had a fun time blasting away at the heavily armored enemies too. The game also kept me occupied by doing challenges, where if I completed a challenge, I could unlock passive perks to my character. I don't remember this being a feature in my first playthrough, but I'm happy I discovered it in this one because I enjoyed doing these simple challenges. I also liked the downtime moments I had in the game, where I was able to use a laser gun to solve environmental puzzles. I also like how the laser gun adds multiple ways to traverse an area. You were able to shoot the laser to cut a hole into the vent or a fence so you could have access to these other areas. I mostly used vents in the game to escape combat, but I also did often use them to engage in stealthily. Stealth is another feature I enjoyed, but I wish they would have added more to it, as it's simple with the use of a suppressor or just killing enemies from behind. It would have been cool to have the option to drag or hide bodies, but maybe that's just me. I'm a really big stealth fan. Overall, I found combat to be really fun in this game, and I also really enjoyed its simple but entertaining story. With all that being said, I do have some minor things to complain about, like I didn't like the first laser cutter weapon that we get, as I felt like I ran out of ammo way too quickly. I was left waiting for my weapon to recharge half the time. I would start the process of cutting, and I have to wait several seconds to just perform another action. I was actually getting pretty annoyed with this too because I felt like it lacked weapon recharge stations as well. Luckily, we do get an upgraded version of the weapon later on, and the game does add more rechargeable locations later. I also didn't like the downtime I had in the resistance base because the game would mostly have you complete fetch quests looking around the base for quest items. Some items were optional, but I got bored of this really quick. Other than these minor complaints, I had a really fun time with Wolfenstein, and I can't wait to play the sequel sometime soon. If you haven't played it, I do recommend it, especially if you liked any of the features I talked about before. Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I just wanted to go over the things that I liked and what I disliked about the game because I do enjoy this game and I love talking about games that I enjoy. And this was my second playthrough. Hopefully, if you guys have played the game as well, you will agree on the things that I liked and what I disliked. And if you haven't played the game, definitely go check it out. And remember to like and subscribe for more gaming commentaries like this one. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.